Good evening, I'm Daniel Brown, and welcome to latest Global News TV Tonight. We begin with the passing of a prominent figure in American history. Former US President Jimmy Carter has passed away at the age of 100. Let's dive into the footage.
My name is Jimmy Carter and I'm running for president.
He went from being Jimmy Who to winning the White House itself, then struggled with crises overseas and a troubled economy at home. A one-term president whose time as ex-president was the longest.
Thank you all.
Among the most active in American history, becoming the first American president to celebrate his 100th birthday. James Earl Carter Jr., he always went by Jimmy, was born in small-town Plains, Georgia, growing up on a farm without electricity or indoor plumbing. He attended the U.S. Naval Academy, studied nuclear physics, worked in the nuclear submarine program. Carter married Rosalind Smith, a friend of his sister's, and she became his lifelong partner. When his father died, Carter left his military career and went home to run the family peanut farm. But he wanted something more. He got into politics, Georgia state senator, then governor.
I, Jimmy Carter, do solemnly swear.
In the Old South, Carter was something new.
The time for racial discrimination is over.
He attracted national attention.
Would our first challenger enter and sign in, please?
But was still enough of an unknown in 1973 to appear on What's My Line? 1 year later,
I'd like to announce that I am a candidate for president.
after Watergate, the country was ready for a Washington outsider who said America deserved a government as good as its people. A born-again Christian who promised voters, "I will never lie to you."
We now have a projected winner, James Earl Carter of the state of Georgia, elected the next president of the United States.
Carter narrowly defeated Gerald Ford, becoming the first president from the Deep South in more than a century.
I, Jimmy Carter, do solemnly swear.
He started with a common touch, an inaugural walk to the White House, a cardigan sweater to talk to the nation about the energy crisis.
There's no way that I or anyone else in the government can solve our energy problems if you are not willing to help.
He became a champion of human rights.
No member of the United Nations can claim that mistreatment of its citizens is solely its own business.
And the Camp David Accord showed Carter at his best, idealistic, tenacious, leading marathon talks between Egypt's Anwar Sadat and Israel's Menachem Begin, achieving a peace treaty that is still in place today. But closer to home, Carter's inexperience and his distaste for political rough and tumble became serious handicaps. And when the economy tanked, so did Carter's popularity. He seemed to blame Americans themselves.
The erosion of our confidence in the future.
He looked weak, photographed collapsing during a run. And it got worse. In Iran, scores of Americans were taken hostage.
I'm a candidate for president of the United States.
Ted Kennedy announced he would challenge Carter for the nomination. The Soviets invaded Afghanistan, prompting Carter to boycott the Moscow Olympics. Above all, the hostage crisis consumed Carter's final year in office.
Any encouraging news from Iran, Mr. President? No.
A mission to rescue the hostages ended in tragedy.
8 Americans had died, an unknown number of other Americans had been wounded.
It was my decision to attempt the rescue operation. The responsibility is fully my own.
Still hoping for a second term, Carter beat Kennedy, only to face an even more formidable opponent.
I'll bring new hope to America.
Ronald Reagan projected optimism and confidence, and he didn't think much of Carter.
There you go again.
Jimmy Carter lost in a landslide. And though he finally negotiated the release of the hostages, they weren't officially freed until just after he left office. Through it all, Carter was sustained by his faith.
You were faced with some huge crises as president. Did you drop down to your knees and pray?
Often, yes, often. In fact, I prayed more per day, per hour, while I was president than any other 4 years in my life.
And his defeat marked the beginning of a remarkable post-presidency. He established the Carter Center, committed to advancing human rights and democracy. He even got some respect from an old adversary.
You gave of yourself to this country, gracing the White House with your passion and intellect and commitment. For that, Mr. President, I thank you, and your country thanks you.
Carter built houses for the poor. He monitored elections, battled disease, and worked for peace around the world, sometimes at odds with his successors. He wrote dozens of books, and in 2002 was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. An extraordinary ex-president, proud of his years in the White House.
Kept the peace. We never went to war. We told the truth. Never lied to the American people. Never misled the American people. So in general terms, I feel perfectly at ease with my term.
Carter was diagnosed with cancer, determined to beat it while maintaining his typical collected demeanor.
I think I have been as blessed as any human being in the world. Everything's been a blessing for me. So I'm thankful and hopeful.
Despite the diagnosis, he continued building houses alongside Rosalind and marked their 75th wedding anniversary in 2021.
75 years, I can't predict.
Rosalind died 2 years later, marking the longest presidential marriage in history. In 2024, Carter marked another milestone, his 100th birthday, with an outpouring of gratitude for his life of service. He brought that devotion to everything he did for family.
The Carter Center, which he founded to champion democracy and human rights, confirmed his death earlier today. Carter, the longest living U.S. president, celebrated his 100th birthday this past October. He passed away peacefully at his home in Plains, Georgia. Jimmy Carter served as the 39th President of the United States from 1977 to 1981, a tenure marked by both domestic and international challenges. Though his presidency ended with low approval ratings, his post-White House years cemented his reputation as a humanitarian and advocate for global peace, earning him the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002. In a heartfelt statement, his son Chip Carter said, "My father was a hero to me and to countless others who believe in peace, human rights, and love." Carter's legacy, he added, was one of unity and compassion. Carter is survived by 4 children, 11 grandchildren, and 14 great-grandchildren. His wife of 77 years, Rosalind Carter, passed away just last month. Together, the Carters were celebrated for their lifelong dedication to service. Since stepping away from public office, Carter dedicated his life to addressing global inequalities and disease. He notably co-founded the Elders with Nelson Mandela, bringing together global leaders to advocate for peace and human rights. Despite his health challenges, including entering hospice care last year, Carter continued to inspire with his humility and dedication to others. World leaders and former presidents have paid tribute to Carter's life and legacy. President Joe Biden described him as an extraordinary leader, a man of faith and humility. The Bidens also noted his unwavering commitment to improving the lives of Americans during challenging times. Former Presidents Bill Clinton, Barack Obama, and George W. Bush echoed similar sentiments, praising Carter's dignity, decency, and enduring contributions to society. Clinton called him a tireless advocate for a fairer world, while Obama reflected on how Carter exemplified a life of grace and justice. George W. Bush commended Carter's efforts to leave a better world, stating that his work extended well beyond his presidency. Though Carter's presidency faced significant hurdles, including economic struggles and the Iran hostage crisis, it also achieved a historic milestone with the Camp David Accords, a peace agreement between Egypt and Israel. His post-presidency humanitarian efforts have left an indelible mark on global history. A state funeral is planned in Washington, D.C., to honor his remarkable life and contributions. Stay with us for continued coverage of this developing story. As always, thank you for watching latest global news TV tonight. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates.